lot of West Ham fans thought they'd turn the corner at Newcastle.
Well, I mean, I went to the Palace game as you did, and I was going home listening actually to talkSPORT and Cundy and O'Hara, and I thought the show was terrific, by the way. It was a different kind of show to our show. It's a lot more kind of out there, and in your face a little bit. But it was a great show, great listen. And I was listening to West Ham fans who had left the stadium, and they were, calling in and saying, it's a disgrace. They didn't even know they'd scored, and stuff like that.
Oh, did you hear the caller who said he left at 4-0, then heard West Ham had scored 2, came back in time to see Arsenal's 5th?
Missed the 2 goals, I know.
It was brilliant, yeah.
That was funny. But, the pain that you experience as a West Ham, obviously I've got love for West Ham because I was the manager of West Ham. So it's slightly different, my feelings about West Ham than they are about Arsenal. So, it was hurting to hear that scoreline. And that stadium, I know what they're like, West Ham fans. That has not gone down well. And I think this season has been a real kind of catalogue of what have we got here? What sort of team are we? And I think that question mark still hangs over them. They're just outside that 6-team sort of portfolio I put together of the teams I think of the 3 that are going to get relegated. I got West Ham just out of that, and because I think they've got far too much quality in their group, but the manager, for whatever reason, can't seem to get a consistency out of them at the moment that warrants the club and the stature of the club.
Okay, a couple of things I want to ask you about West Ham, okay? First of all, the first, Arsenal are going to win the game because they were that good. Bukayo Saka's almost unplayable at times. He's such a fantastic player. It was a great subject they had on the Sunday session. Do we elevate him enough? Do we give him enough praise? Because he's so good, Bukayo Saka. So Arsenal were going to win the game. This isn't about, this isn't crying because Arsenal won the game. They were going to win the game. But the first goal from the corner, there's a big foul at the front post. I think Urian Timber just goes into the back of somebody, and it's completely missed. Now, I don't think the goal happens. The ball gets headed away unless I think it's Paqueta who's at the front, unless he's pushed in the back. So I can't understand when they're going down to minute little details that are possibly wrong. It's all based on opinion. In Southampton on Friday night to disallow a winning goal in the Brighton-Southampton game, and then they can't see a barge in the back like that allows Arsenal to score the first goal. I do wonder what's going on with VAR and
well, that's a different thing. That's really not about West Ham.
No.
But that is what I would say about that. That is what I think when I look at Arsenal and the set play goals that they get, and that charge to the near post from the back post that they do on a regular basis works so efficiently, and there are going to be blocks and there's going to be people taken out in that situation, and that's been the same throughout football for the rest of time, and stuff that went on in the box doesn't go on anymore that used to go on. There's been some elbows and all sorts going on. So VAR has stopped a lot of that, but you're going to miss the odd thing, and I think that probably got missed yesterday. But Arsenal, brilliant at set plays, and actually when a top team, one of the beauties of actually being in perhaps not the top echelon of teams is that you have to specialise at set plays. You have to be better than them. And actually, at the moment, Arsenal are better than a lot of the teams in the Premier League.
Pretty much everyone,
at set plays, let alone anything else. So it gives them a huge advantage.
There were 4 goals in 6 minutes in the game, including the West Ham goals. One player, if you were in charge of West Ham now, would you take Paqueta out? Because sometimes it's like playing with 10 men. Gives the ball away a lot. Sometimes he does some dreamy stuff, and he can be a terrific player. But I do wonder if West Ham fans are getting ultra frustrated with him because they're not seeing all the brilliant stuff. They are seeing some of the stuff that lets the team down there.
Well, he's a player that I had Ben Arfa at Newcastle who could do things with the ball that, top level. He had unbelievable talent. He literally had 0 defensive qualities in him. He didn't want to defend, couldn't defend. Even when he did, he give fouls away and kills the problem. And actually, the players in the team wanted him out of the team more than I did. It was almost like he's costing us. And he couldn't see that, of course, and he got disgruntled, and we had a few issues with him, etc., because he was frustrated. But we as much as we tried to put it in him, some players it just doesn't go in, that defensive angle of the game. Some don't want to, To be fair to Ben Arfa, he tried. He tried in games, and I think Paqueta is in that frame. He's almost like a liability at times when you haven't got the ball, but he's got unbelievable quality. And if I was at West Ham, I would play him, but I would certainly look at my back four and look for a bit more pace, right, and a little bit more organisation. Because if you're asking me what their problem is defending, I can't see them at the moment. They look wide open at times, and particularly when I think they're at home, they look loose. The out ball for the opposition is too easy, and that's when when you're at home, you can't have the opposition getting out at you, coming out at you, and Arsenal far too often yesterday.
Okay, let's move on to Palace 1, Newcastle 1. We were both there. This is Pard's coaching corner. You are analysing Palace 1, Newcastle 1 because you were there, Alan Pardew.
Yeah, well, not only that, I obviously managed both sides. And what you said earlier was a very interesting point because you have to know the history of the club to understand, certain traits. Now, certain traits of Crystal Palace players are of hard-working, discipline, do the job, fight, and wear your heart on your sleeve, right? That is the fundamental player for Crystal Palace. And I thought they showed that yesterday. When I looked across that team, okay, they got a couple of injuries. Ezzy's not quite out. He had to come off after an hour, although I hope that was down to the fact that he's not particularly, his strongest levels, because I would never have taken him off, particularly 1-0 down. Sometimes sports scientists want you to protect your players. But I see that, and what I see with Crystal Palace is a team that don't actually really cross the ball. They try and play through teams. He's trying to play a high technical game at Crystal Palace, the manager, and I'm not sure they can do it. And I'm talking about with the ball and offensive goals, trying to get offensive goals. They press and they can nick goals like that. They almost did yesterday. But I worry whether they've got the technical ability to play the game that the manager wants. So that's Palace. Newcastle's different. When I looked at Newcastle on the paper, as perhaps you did, I looked at that and thought, wow, this is a proper team, by the way. This is the team that almost got in the Champions League, might even look better on paper. But somewhere in that team, the mojo has gone a little bit. You've got Joe Linton, in my opinion, playing on the side. He was asked to do, because Palace play wing-backs, he was asked to do a job at the wing-back situation. And I was thinking, he don't like doing that. And it's little things like that I think have unsettled him. I don't know why he's not playing through the middle. I don't know why he isn't given them a bit more freedom. And they just look like a team, a little bit like Man City, where you're wondering, scratching your head a little bit, why aren't they playing better? Why ain't they getting better results? I'm actually there on Wednesday for the Liverpool game, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on. But they look like they need a couple of changes in there, personnel-wise, to me.
They had no shots on target yesterday.
0.
And I think there was only one effort at goal as well. Their goal came through an own goal. And I thought that's very...
Which is a well-worked set play, by the way, by Eddie.
Yeah,
He's brilliant, always been brilliant at them.
Yeah.
Bournemouth, creative set plays, very good.
Yeah, but that's not Newcastle, is it? Newcastle fans want attacking football. They want to hark back to the Keegan days. That's the kind of football they want to see their team playing.
Yeah, because that's a different makeup. That's when you go back to the Palace players, and I when I was at Newcastle, it's a different setup of a player. Newcastle won all that from their team, harnessly, but you got to have enough flair in the team to warrant playing at Newcastle. You got to have, a player who can go past someone, like Gordon, who does it. You got Linton, who's got those incredible technical skills here and there. So it's a different level of player that you like to think you have at Newcastle on a regular basis. And yesterday, they were way below, in my opinion, the level that team should have been playing at.
I'm still reeling from you saying O'Hara and Cundy were good yesterday. Enjoyed the show. I like that.
No, that was very good, very good. People criticise them, not me.
Who criticises them?
Ross.
Does
no,
he?
No, Ross is like that. No, don't say that.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.